like Simu Liu in the photos. I mean, not the photo, in the video. I am the Simu Liu.
In what way?
Oh, shit.
If you're Simu Liu, then I'm Bruce Lee.
I am the Simu Liu.
You are the Simu Liu.
You know what's actually pretty cool is the fact that, you know, your hair.
Yeah.
This new style of haircut actually is really interesting because you really do get, yeah, you can just wake up in the morning and your hair is exactly like this. It's pretty amazing.
Your hair?
Yeah, I don't do nothing to my hair.
Oh, with the hard part or side part to the left.
It grows like this. And
it grows like this.
It grows like this. I don't gotta do nothing.
Yeah, but you just gotta cut it like that all the time now.
That's okay. I mean, I did go back to kind of like a full hockey type of cut, and I was like, or like a what is that called? I did do when I cut my hair, I did the half mullet, which was kind of fun. I feel like people who have half mullets or the mini mullets, you need like piercings or something hard.
We should also just shave our head bald.
Oh my gosh. Sure. For some cause. That would be better. A lot better.
No, let's just do it. Let's normalize being bald.
Oh my gosh, I don't think that's possible. It kind of reminds me of this episode 4 where Faye has never seen a dog before. That was kind of a small cue. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting that they pointed that out, in the dialogue. I was like, oh, why did they do that? So we're here with the informal podcast.
The informal font.
The informal podcast. I don't even know if we should say our names, It's like we've been doing this for so long.
Well, I don't think we ever actually say our names. We just kind of like...
So people just might not know who we are.
Yeah, actually, no one knows who we are.
We are mystery people. Just talking about Cowboy Bebop. It's like, oh, hey,
we're mysterious presenters for an informal podcast.
Okay. Anyway, I'll probably be in Vegas this coming Sunday. So, no, Monday, because I gotta go somewhere on Monday. Okay.
Random.
I know, it is so random. This is how my brain works. Okay, so we're here to talk about Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix live episode 4. This episode, I think, of all the episodes, was very graphic. It was very graphic, this one. I was like, holy shoot, like the people turning into trees was just something I
yeah.
Yeah.
Everything seems a lot more, actually not even just this one, but like overall it seems more.
This one progressed pretty significantly. I was like, oh shit.
I don't know, even more so than the last one, because there was like a ton of like sexuality in that one.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. It's like, these categories of like, jump scare, gore, horror, like even sexual violence. It all falls under like PG-13. I wonder, does Netflix even have like a rating scale? I don't even know. I guess they use the same thing as movies and TVs.
I don't even know.
That would say, oh, this is not suitable for kids, because I'm sure kids have access to their parents' Netflix account. Just click.
Well, they do have, they do, because like there's parental controls for Netflix. Right.
Then
that limit only to like children's shows and movies.
I don't know how anyone would set that up, but I guess the parents would have to set that up, and then so they couldn't watch things like Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, I don't need to know how to do that.
But I feel like kids are so smart these days. They're just like, we don't care.
Yeah, but I think it's for the much younger kids.
Yeah. Well, I see, like 10. Like,
yeah.
I feel like censorship just totally went out the window when everything was available online.
Censorship or just restrictions? Because like I feel like things are a lot more censored, or I feel like for a time everything was censored. Actually, I feel like a lot of things are censored still in media today.
Probably. Yeah, YouTube censored. I'm pretty sure that we have to either label this as not.
Yeah, like I feel like everything is it's so sensitive. It's like everything has to be censored.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
So, well, Anyway, well, I mean, it was a gory episode. I enjoyed it. It was kind of took me by surprise, but this episode focused more on Faye, which is, I guess, another character. I don't know, right, from the manga or from the anime.
Well, we were introduced to her in the first episode.
Oh yeah, of course. But then I think now we get to find out a little bit more about her, and like kind of inching closer to her backstory, right? With her.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Oh, was that different from the anime?
No. Oh, I mean, like, her trying to find out her past is still the same. Oh. There are there are differences, but I mean, the concept is still the same, right? She woke from cryo sleep with amnesia.
Yeah.
And then was betrayed. And then she's searching for this person named Whitney Haggis Matsumoto,
which is her supposed mother, right?
Well, that's the only thing that's different. I mean, the concept is still the same.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about like the overall just idea is still similar, but
but the person of Whitney is different.
Oh.
They changed it from a man to a old elderly woman.
Oh, interesting. I thought it was kind of a little bit of a sidetrack. I was kind of confused because as soon as she came to, find the person, like I think he had what's his name? The person who was in charge of cryo sleep, right? He was one of the people who defrosted her and then her identity, everything like that, and then passed off, this that gal is her mother, right?
Mm-hmm. As that was fake mother.
Yeah, fake mother. Passed her off as her fake mother. But then all the while, all that's happening, and then all of a sudden, it's like these environmentalists kind of break through, and then totally.
So what they're doing is they're mashing in like several episodes in together.
Oh, like storylines and Oh, interesting.
Very much so. Like the Eco Terrace is a separate story in the anime, and like the whole thing about Faye's past actually spans several episodes, but they're all kind of. It seems like
episodes in
and in the anime. Sorry.
Okay, got it. No,
I mean, well, obviously they're going to do this for the show too, right? Because I mean, it's not over yet. She hasn't found. She didn't find the mother yet.
Right, yeah. And she's kind of a little bit of a badass, but you do see the human side in this episode when she has to make a choice between discovering who her mother is and then or finding that Matsumoto chick, and then of course, following the environmental terrorists to stop them from terraforming all these individuals, like thousands of people,
killing all those people on the planet,
turning them all into planets.
I did like this episode a lot though. The Eco Terrace was great.
It was very more fluid. I think I did like the last episode too, and I think with every episode that progresses, it just gets better. That's why I feel very confident that if I told people, hey, watch it up to the third episode, you'll probably enjoy it. So I did tell Belden yesterday, I was like, oh, hey, you should give it another try because it's actually really good. It gets really good. And I'm doing this for work, so but this episode definitely was
work.
But I do feel that all in all, this episode had a lot of like great elements to it. Like it meshed the characters well together, and then they had like the inside joke about I forgot what they call it,
the cosmonaut.
Yeah, cosmonaut. That was so freaking funny because it's like the way that John Cho and Jet Black, or actually Spike and Jet Black were like bantering with one another and talking about, like, it felt so genuine. I was like, oh yeah, they really do think this girl with the eyebrows is the cosmonaut. That was cool. Okay, so but I mean, you felt the same way that this episode was pretty well done, worked out well, introduced characters.
I enjoyed the show. I actually enjoyed this episode a lot more than the other three.
Oh yeah, and I think that's probably why. I mean, that's why I'm suggesting like people make it up to this episode. I think they'll probably, the halfway point is always like where people
because I mean, part of it is one, like I actually did like the bounty of the Eco Terrorists because they were always fun to watch, and also two is just Faye's past is so Well, at least in the anime, it's very very sad. Like
Oh,
it's almost depressing almost.
wow.
But I mean, I don't know how they're gonna take it this one because they changed the
The mother.
well, they changed the person of Whitney Matsumoto from a man to an elderly woman to pretending his mother. So in I guess this is a spoiler, right? Just to give you context of the difference. So in the anime, right, Whitney Matsumoto pretends to be her lawyer or something like that, like to in order to help pay off all her debts or something, because she wakes up with no amnesia in a hospital, right, and she has to pay all of this fees for medical stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, so but as they're working together, like the two kind of fall in love.
Who?
Whitney Matsumoto and Faye Valentine
What?
in the anime.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because I mean he's not old, you know.
You said, but now it's an old woman.
Now it's an old woman, right?
Maybe
Well,
that storyline is gonzo.
yeah, it's gone. But anyway, it turns out that the guy is a con artist and was actually pretending to be his lawyer to steal money from her case or something like that, and then runs away, leaving her heartbroken and confused and left with nothing.
So there was a relationship dynamic.
But and the thing is, she still did, even after all of that happened, she still didn't know who she was, right? She has no idea who her past is, who her real parents are, or where she came from.
You know, if I had amnesia, I totally would just give up my old life. I don't even care if people recognize me.
Well, you say that now, but I mean, when you wake up with no memories, I think the first thing people want to do is just know like what happened.
Ooh, that sounds like a good story. Like, oh,
it is a good story. That's why Babe Valentine's background is so good. Like her character arc is really good.
You find out, oh shoot, I'm a killer.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you have people around you to help you.
Yeah.
You know, to like just like, oh, we'll help you get your memories back, or we'll help you, you know, figure this all out. Yeah, right. But then you find out later on that they're conning you from the start.
Yeah.
And now you're left with nothing.
That would be sad, actually. I'd be like, oh, you know, because you don't know who to trust at that point.
Yeah. And also it's a very important story to Faye that ties into Faye's personality.
Oh yeah.
But again, I feel like all of this is just kind of like changed completely, right, because obviously they're changing that whole story of Whitney and Faye's relationship. Yeah. And it also feels like they've changed like Faye's personality a lot in this one.
Really? How was she supposed to be? I like her. She came off a little bit crass, but you know, over time she's kind of like a whine. You just kind of like, okay, she's getting a little bit better. Like in the beginning, I felt like she was a liar, a betrayer, very selfish, very special.
Yeah. So that's why I liked her. Like I thought that's what they're going to do. Like she's usually supposed to be very, 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 very selfish person.
Oh yeah. But she wasn't in this episode at the end, anyway.
Yeah, not in this one. It's kind of different. She's supposed to be very selfish, and she's also not a team player, which is different because she sought out the Bebop crew.
Well, she kind of was stranded. I mean,
but I mean, I don't know. I mean, she
wouldn't be.
She's like technically supposed to be a con artist of sorts herself, right? She's a kind of like a thief who's like on the run from people who she owes money to originally. But in this one, it sounds like she's a lot more responsible, or more mature. I would say,
right, yeah.
Right, in terms of treating other people with respect.
Absolutely, yeah.
And yeah,
I like her a lot.
Yeah, so it's different. I mean, she seems a lot more useful.
Yeah,
a lot more useful.
Part of the team useful, right? Like
like she's actually like a team member in this one, as opposed to before, where she was more selfish and was really more just kind of a nuisance.
Right, like you don't see too much of her maliciousness, even with stealing the plane, right? You know that she kind of knew she was being tricked, so she kind of double crossed, right? Spike and Jet, right after they took her what
Yeah.
are those communicators, cell phones, one of those things, and then she
Sure. Yeah, it's
gone.
interesting to see like it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic of where they take Faye's character to
Right,
in
especially
this
since now you
season.
don't know, the origin is a little bit different.
Yeah. Or maybe they may not even like dive too deep into it for this season, which I'm okay with. Um as long as I feel like as long as they kind of establish a baseline of like who she's supposed to be in this series,
Yeah.
I'm fine with like her being different. It's just and as long as they kind of dive into it a little deeper later on, like even if it is like in the second season,
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
there's a lot they can do with
she was
this.
definitely the person to shine, I think, throughout the episode. It was actually really
Yeah.
good. Like they focused on her, not too over the top, but just enough to kind of give us a little bit of backstory. She recovered
Hmm.
the phone, as she was supposedly like ready to crash land. Um,
Yeah.
like it shows her being very vulnerable.
Yeah. She seems a lot less femme fatale
Yeah,
and more
vulnerable, like
Tomb Raider badassery kind of woman.
yeah, I agree with that. Like I
Yeah.
agree with that description because it definitely came off that way in this episode. And she was, like I said, like she had such quick character growth just in that episode alone. Like what she's willing to sacrifice, what she's willing to choose, and then like,
Hmm.
I mean, like you said, not selfish at all. And I think it's kind of nice to see like how that will all come together, in the later episodes. Another thing I thought in this episode, because there was two kind of arcs going on, which one was, of course, chasing the environmentalists for the bounty, and then Spike and all of them coming together. But there's also the vicious arc.
Yeah, so that's also another change. Like I feel like they're speeding things up a lot quicker. I mean, I get it. It's like, the episodes are an hour compared to 30 minutes, but still, it's like they're meshing in like different ideas and different story arcs into like one episode.
So does vicious going into like I guess battle or for his own protection, right? Him and his wife's protection. Um,
Yeah, so I mean the fact that he has a wife, I mean that's completely different.
every time you say
Um
excuse me.
No, so yeah, at least they're doing. It seems like they're already starting the arc of Vicious's betrayal of the syndicate, or his takeover.
The elders,
Yeah,
the elder.
but what the spin of is that Julia seems to be like the one manipulating the strings a little bit.
That's a girl tattoo, yeah, with Julie.
The blonde hair girl,
Yeah,
yes,
she did
Julia.
seem to like plant the idea, right?
She
For
seems to be a lot more craftier, in
craft,
this one.
yeah,
Yeah, like subtly, subtly, being very very subtle with her suggestion to Vicious about instead of confronting the elders with brute force, instead to like form an alliance with Mao Yanrai
right. And
and the
she's
eunuch.
looking at it as more of a coup than
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, it's like, oh,
Wow.
instead of doing all-out war, why don't we do a coup d'etat instead?
Yeah, I wonder how quick that actually takes. Like, oh, hey, cancel everybody. My wife just said, like, hey, why don't we
Yeah.
cancel the battle and we're gonna do it this way. Like how quickly does that take him to actually do something like that?
Yeah, and this speaks a lot to each person's character.
Yeah.
So again, things are just very, very different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and the funny thing is I don't know the overall emphasis, between Spike and her, but I mean, does that kind of come up again? Because now it seems like it's like story stuffing, right? Because
Hmm.
there's so much source material to cover. It's like, you try to kind of stuff all these different things. So, I mean, it's kind of nice in the sense that like, oh yeah, I forgot that Spike, had this love interest, that he was flashing back on. And, if you glazed over a few episodes, you may be like, oh, when did this, story begin and occur?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be something that hopefully it's not like an American Horror Story situation where they just cram so many different things with so many characters that and the hard thing is American Horror Story only has like 6 maybe 7 episodes. So when you're at the 7th episode, you're kind of like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? Like they have to like accelerate everything, and then the pacing falls flat, as a series, as opposed to, or the season, as opposed to like individual episodes. I'm enjoying the individual episodes, and they're laying down the storylines for all of us to kind of just, keep tabs in our mind. But I
Yeah.
feel what's going to happen is that they're going to have to rush at the end to put it all together,
Right.
or push it off to season 2.
Yeah. I mean, I will say like, these different like meshes of different themes and arcs. It doesn't seem forced, to say the least. So
Okay, that's good.
yeah, I do
Doesn't
give
seem
it credit.
forced.
It doesn't really seem that forced at all. So I actually kind of I give it my approval.
I just worry about like how, at the end, like how are they gonna either tie these loose ends, or how many are they gonna keep open, because what I always find interesting is I like finding plot holes, and like I just observe them, and I want to,
Well,
are they
here's a
not gonna
plot
close
hole.
this?
Here's something that doesn't really make any sense to me. Is the whole part of Anna's part in all of this? Like
Relevant?
I don't yeah, her relevancy in all of
Yeah.
this. Like I don't really understand, I guess, why Julia had to go to to Anna in
Yeah.
order to set up a meeting between Mao and Vicious,
Yeah,
Like
because I
they
thought
all work
Vicious
for
is the one
the
who
they all
could.
work for the same syndicate, right?
Yeah.
For the same organization. So why is it they have to go through a third party with Anna,
Set up the meeting, right?
who seems to be in this one to be independent, right?
Kind of, yeah. Because
Or
she's,
like
oh,
neutral
I own my own bar.
ground.
I own my own bar. I'm independent.
Yeah, like how does she have connections with Mao,
Yeah.
or how does she have that influence, I would say, in order to convince Mao
Well,
to
I would say
do a meeting?
maybe they wanted,
It sounds like they're just trying to find excuses to make them all relevant.
well, not only that, I feel like they wanted to show the interaction between, um, the rose tattoo girl. What's her name? Kate.
Julia?
Yeah. I think
Kate.
they are looking to Kate, Kate Bishop. They're trying to get, they wanted to showcase Julia meeting with, Anna's employee, the guy with
Oh, Gren.
yeah, Graham. So I think maybe they wanted to show that interaction, because when I saw it too, it didn't make sense to me. I was like, oh, maybe they wanted to show like how close they were. It's been a long time, and do pleasantries, and kind of showcase that relationship for
Yeah.
something later.
Yeah, and that's another part too, is I really hope they play more into Gren's character.
Yeah.
Like not just as like, oh, he's like that non-binary person for representation purposes.
Yeah, I mean that's always a bummer part, right? It's like, oh, how come you threw in, like, how come all the Power Rangers are all different ethnicities? Oh yeah, because we want inclusivity.
Yeah, I mean, I get it's important, but it's like, Grant's character also plays an integral part into Spike's storyline. Well, originally he kind of did, but I don't know exactly how they're proposing to use Gren in this one, because it seems like he's just Gren just seems like an employee, or some side character that's just there
For Anna, right?
Yeah, he's just there for Anna and Julia.
Yeah, I mean, so that's yet to be seen. I mean, as we go.
Yeah, I really want them to like do more with Grant's character.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, like, as I'm watching it, right, from a person who hasn't watched the anime, like, this all seems very commonplace. Like, oh, the story is kind of coming together. There's all these different characters. We're kind of introducing sides, and like all these.
Well, I mean, I feel like they have to, because like they introduced him like extremely early on into the series.
Right. Yeah.
So I feel like it would just be a waste if they didn't.
Right, if they had the character. But I mean, the other thing too we have to think about is, like, I mean, Gren's character is kind of just having these little moments, right? With the couple coming in, and then of course working with Anna, and then of course now talking to Julia. Like, this is kind of the only airtime that Gren has had. So I mean, maybe I see. So in that case scenario, do you feel like Gren is just fan service because there is a character Gren, and now it's just like we have these very micro interactions, or
I don't honestly know. Maybe the writers don't know what to do with Gren's character,
yeah,
or maybe they're just saving it for a second season.
yeah, could be. I mean, I think that's what's exciting for you is the fact that you don't know, and
Yeah.
what's exciting for me is that the story is just kind of its own standalone story. And I do feel like after this whole, review of each episode, I'm gonna probably
Mm-hmm.
watch the anime because it does pop up for me under suggestion for Netflix. I'm like, I guess I should watch it. So,
Yeah, it's only 26 episodes long.
but they say, yeah, and they're shorter episodes, right? 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Woohoo. That's what I love about anime. Like you can like the breaks are so frequent that you could just
Mm-hmm.
like for me
Yeah.
watching Cowboy Bebop, I gotta like, oh, okay, I got a whole hour,
Yeah.
I got an hour,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just. I mean, the format is different for each one, right? Because in the anime, it's like individual stories, but in this one, it seems off like a fluid, singular storyline mixed in.
right? Not like cut,
Right.
cut, 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 right? Cut,
Yeah.
cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the episode. Let us know what you guys think. I thought it was really great. Jeremy thought it was really great. We finally agreed for one. So, tune in for the next episode on on the Informal Podcast.
Dragon Ball
Woo!
Z.
Woo. This is what I do. I do this thing. Okay.